Hello and welcome to the Bearable Traders Podcast, Talk with Traders. In this episode, we dive into setting trading goals for the new year and how discipline carries over to all parts of your life, especially trading. Without further ado, let's jump right into the conversation. Welcome, guys, to Talk with Traders, Bearable Traders Podcast, and with your hosts, Carlos and Thor, as we look to kick off our podcast and just kind of get things going. Some of the things that you can expect from this podcast, by the way, as we kick it off, is that we're going to be talking about traders, but not just the stuff that you normally hear, where it's about, technicals and analysis. Thor and I are thinking we're going to do more of the trader lifestyle and kind of what happens behind the scenes, struggles and issues that we deal with as traders. I mean, I'm Thor, as you know, there's stuff that you do on the back end that affects your trading, and I'm sure others are dealing with issues like that as well. And we'll see how we can kind of create a nice a community of a podcast where we can come and chat and kind of speak on these issues, right?
Yeah, well, absolutely, man, and great hanging out with you, man. I'm really excited to be doing this podcast with you. We're going to be kicking off with the Talk with Traders brand, as mentioned, but we want to take this like totally different angle. Like most of the podcasts out there, you're talking with market makers, big named people that are kind of outside, and we wanted to bring you the perspective of a couple of dads that are retail traders that are just going to talk to you about the issues that we've gone through as we've become traders. Both Carlos and I are successful, consistently profitable retail day traders. We both do mentoring and trade, trade in the chat room. Carlos doing a podcast. I recently publishing a book. We've done lots of stuff out there, and we want to be able to relate and talk with our community more directly. We've got lots of friends in here, and we're really hoping maybe you guys will all enjoy maybe something a little more personal than what's out there in the trading community, the trader life, if you will, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, as this goes through, definitely give us feedback because your feedback is important to us as we develop this podcast going forward.
Yeah, it's
Today,
going to steer the show.
yeah, absolutely. And today, it is funny, as you mentioned that before we get into our topics for today, when we decided to do this, I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. It's going to be like a conversation with Thor, so it's so natural to have that. And hopefully you guys enjoy the feedback and comments and all the stuff that we're going to bring to you. Hopefully we add value to your day as you listen to this once a week. Three things we want to cover today is the first one is trading goals and getting started. I mean, as we're recording right now, it's January 3rd, and we're looking to start the new year. And there are many traders that are starting their career today or have started already this morning. And I hope you guys did well. But let's talk a little bit about that and how to set those goals, some of the things you can expect. I mean, Thor, I still remember the first time I started trading. There was no lack of emotions and nervous in my system. Sweating down my back, palms are sweating as you're looking to take that first trade live. It's overwhelming at times. It's not easy.
Oh man, not easy is the word. Happy New Year, by the way, to
Yes.
everyone.
Yes.
This is the first, as we are recording right now, we are actually mid-session on the first trading day of the year. By the way, I saw that Tesla short you caught on the low a day break. That well done there, good sir. I happened
Yes.
to catch
Thank
the
you.
short on the SPY from the top. Just saying, nice fade today. But we talk about coming into this new year, which it is, and to set expectations. And man, I agree. I remember starting off my first, because I actually started trading towards the end of the year. So it was kind of because I started in around like a November. What was it? I think it was 2013, 14 or something like that. I first started looking into, was just joined the Bear Bull Traders chat room actually, as
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
fresh new member, then lifetime member very quickly. I saw the potential then, and I got into it, and I just remember starting that first new year and just saying, man, this year I just want to survive. This year I just want to come out. I want by the end of this year, which seems like such a simple goal, but I mean, it was harder than I ever would have thought it was going to be. That first year for me was a rough year. I actually blew up my first account.
Yeah. Yeah.
My learning curve. I messed up the way I did sim. I mean, there was a lot in that. So, funny enough, then my goal was just simply that I wanted to survive the next year. Where
Yeah.
this year my
Yeah.
goals are going to be much different, and maybe we can talk a little bit more about what our personal goals are for
Yeah,
the next
yeah.
year. But how about you, man? How did you remember being live in your
Oh,
first new year and how
absolutely. I
that
mean, the
felt?
first, I started just similar to this, the first day of the year, because I ended my actual 9 to 5 2017. So I went live 2018. I don't remember the exact date, but whatever market date that was my first live trading. After I have blown up, well, not blown up, I lost a couple of hundreds of dollars before joining BBT, before knowing how to trade. It was not much, it was like 700, but at the time it felt like, oh, what's happening?
Yeah, and you and I were
So
around the same. It was like around that 2018
yeah.
time. I think I said 13 before. I don't know. I'm math not good. I think it was right around
No
18 or
worries,
something
man.
like that.
So coming back and learning with VBT and then going live on 2018, I still remember that day, you know, having all the equipment, being successful in the simulator, right? I had a successful process and I simulated for 7, 6 months. So I was there for a while. So I was more
Mm.
than ready to, okay, let's get this going. And still, when it was time to flip the switch and trade live, I was very nervous, and my goals were not as set up as I would have liked them. Like if I can go back now and say, okay, you know what, you had the wrong
Oh man,
mentality.
if I could
Um,
go back.
my goal was set up to let's make money, and that's just the wrong approach to kind of go at it.
Yeah.
So anyone out there starting new, you know, your goals have to be more realistic and achievable. So making money is not a goal that you want to have starting out.
Hmm.
When you start to trade live, your goal should be, how can I be disciplined and trade small? You know, that's your goal, discipline
Yeah.
and trade small. And
Well,
then
you
you're
and I
gonna,
are both process guys. We're both
yeah,
looking at the process over the profit. I constantly say I'm just looking for pretty pictures. I want to be able to take a screenshot of my chart, put it up, and for everyone to say, "Dang, that looks nice." And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just because I want people to recognize how awesome the execution was. And I would rather miss a trade than do otherwise, than to show the chat room, a reckless or poorly
right,
taken
right.
one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Which still
I
does
agree.
happen, by
Oh, we're not perfect. We're not perfect by any
the
mean. And as we're running through this show here, no, guys, that the
way.
advice we're giving you is advice that we also throw back at us, right? So
Oh,
no,
no,
no, by any means are we saying, hey, we're perfect traders. Uh, Andrew, to this point, look at Andrew's level, who's the best trader that I know by far on planet
for
Earth.
real.
He makes mistakes, right? So you got to be flexible in that sense that you're not going to be perfect. But anyone starting new, man, as you're setting goals, set goals that are realistic, that are achievable. Money, we all here to make money as far as trading, but setting goals based on dollar amounts at first is going to be a challenge because you're going
Of
to be
course.
disappointed. You are going to be disappointed if your goal is, hey, I want to make X amount of dollars by the end of the month. I think the mentality has to switch to have goals that are set up to be able to take you into a good discipline, good learning experience in a live environment, and then the outcome is going to come, right? I know, easier said than done, guys. Easier said than done. I mean, we've been through it. We know how hard it is to be disciplined, and then at the end, your scorecard is red.
Yeah.
You're red for the day. It's not fun, but it's a process. It really is a
But
process.
I tell you what, though, man, if you show me a trader that shows me a red scorecard, but that trade was intentional every single time the way they meant to, I'll say that's someone who's going to be making money someday. They're
Yeah,
following the process. They just haven't dialed that process in. But I'm telling you, as we go through this, evolution and everything with the show, one of the things you guys are going to hear Carlos and I, I'm sure, talk a ton about is what's emotionally going on inside of you over the technical thing, the aspects that come from that. That's part of the reason why we thought maybe this show would be relevant, right? Because what really affects the day-to-day retail trader is emotion. It's perspective. It's all of those other things that happen. Everyone can read a chart. Everyone knows what a ABCD pattern looks like. Everyone can follow a book and see what a volume thing looks like. Do you have the ability to actually do it? Can
right,
you
right.
pull the trigger when it's time to pull trigger, and what kind of growth do you need to make as a human, right? Not even just a guy or or a girl or anything else. I mean, just as a human, what type of growth do you have to do internally to be able to do that? And that's high performing versus low performing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I agree 100%, man. And one of the things I tell people is that if you think about trading, everybody will agree that trading is 80% mental, 20% skills, right? When you get to that point, I
Sure.
always compare this to like a loan amortization, right? You know how you start paying the interest first and then slowly it goes like this. You start paying the principal more and
Right.
you get out of your loan. Same thing with trading. At first, it's all technicals and learning the technical side of it. But then eventually the technicals kind of become less as important as far as learning as the mental side of it. But people don't spend 80% of their time on their discipline and their mentality.
No,
Think about
they
it. They
spend it
believe
on
in it,
the
but
charts
they
and
don't.
stuff.
Yeah, but they spend it on the charts, and you gotta kind of give that some importance. So, guys, as you're setting your goals for this new year, wish you all the best of luck. But definitely, please be realistic on your goals and try to keep them away from dollars. Right, make them more achievable, so you're not disappointed at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, as you're going through your learning curve.
So how
And
about you, Carlos? What's your big goal for the new year in your trading journey? What are you looking to bring to bring to yourself here? What's that next
yeah,
level you're
well,
hoping to get to?
so the next level for me, man, is increasing risk. It's being able to increase risk and to not have it mess up with the strategy, right? So I trade, as you guys know, the
Yeah,
5 minute ORB is like it's like my baby. That's my go-to. That strategy is very aggressive at times. So adding more risk to that strategy can be difficult because you can find yourself in a quickly bad situation very fast. So
sure.
it's tough to just add a set amount of risk and just kind of say, oh, I'm just going to duplicate it. Once your risk goes higher, it's very difficult, my mindset wise, to keep the same
Mm,
discipline. Because now you're down 500, no problem. But now you add on risk, you're down 800, 1,000,
yeah,
and it's perfectly fine. Everything's still the same. But
same rules. Yeah,
up here it's
that's a
like,
bigger
wait a
number.
minute, it's a bigger number,
That's a bigger number, man. That's all that matters.
and again, the numbers don't actually matter. What I'm saying, what matters is just the whole process, right? Everybody's number is different. You get to a point where you're comfortable with the risk you're doing. I remember when I was at 250, man, very comfortable risking 250 to try to make 500, very comfortable. To try to get to 300, 400, 500, it's a challenge, right? You
Yeah.
hit a wall, and that takes time to build that. So that's one of my goals.
In theory, it should just be switching a button,
It
right?
should be, but
So
it's
one thing
not.
I do, speaking of mental games,
Yeah,
so I only risk one price level whenever I make a risk level. On my montage, I actually only have buy 1R on my button. So when I buy, I'm only buying 1R risk. So I could be
yeah,
risking
yeah.
$25, 120. I don't know. I trade fixed risk. So I know that's how much I'm buying. And for me, even though I've scaled my risk, I'm still hitting the same button. And I know
Right,
that
right. You didn't
seems
change it. Yeah,
super
yeah.
like not a real serious thing, but it helps. It worked for me,
It helps. Yeah.
where I could say, okay, I'm still following the same process here, right? I'm just hitting that button. Nothing else has changed, but what you're saying, man, is so gold. So like, what are your what are your thoughts on? Because I know I've actually thought about increasing risk, and I actually just increased my risk a little bit by about 25%, which is not a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But I actually trade I only trade around $125 to $130 risk per trade. So my risk level isn't as high, but I'm averaging, a
But your
solid.
return is good. Right.
Oh, I
Based on
mean,
your
I
trades.
average
Yeah,
7 to 10 hour a day right
right,
now.
right,
So,
exactly.
I
So
mean, I'm doing really great on it. But so I just increased that risk level, which ended up being, a quarter of it, and it helped a lot to do that. But I have to admit, man, even with that going in, it was like the first few times I was just like, oh my
because
God, we're doing this.
there's a lot more at stake.
And it's
It's
like,
the
does it still
mindset.
work? It still
Yeah.
works. Thank God. It still works.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I did that while I'm trading the open for Andrew while he's climbing mountains and getting frostbite and stuff. So
Yeah, shout out
we
to him.
have
He
I have
just
the
did
additional emotional pressure of having the entire room staring at my trading chart while I'm
yeah.
doing it.
Shout out to Andrew. He just climbed, I think, the highest or the
Yeah,
second highest mountain in the Western Hemisphere in Argentina.
yeah.
So shout out to him. Everything came out good.
24K, right?
Yeah,
24K.
insane. 24,000
24K.
feet, man.
For the record, how high are you when you're in an airplane at cruising altitude, by the way? I'm pretty sure it's like
He's
30.
like 30. He's a couple of feet away.
He's like, he could just be like, hey, Boeing, what's up?
It's just incredible. It really is the stuff that he does. So
Trader life, man. Living
yeah,
it. I love it.
yeah, he's living it. He's living it. And but I think even if you have to love that, you have to
Yeah.
love that that climbing
Yeah.
stuff. But
No,
yeah, man,
it was inspirational to me. I did a lot to work on my physical fitness over the past, couple of years. And part of the inspiration for that was just, it was, watching this guy and out living his life, doing his thing and looking strong and capable. And I
yeah,
was like, man, it actually part of the mentality we talked about. I was talking about when you're trying to execute at a higher level, you will find that actually creeps into other aspects of your life. It's really hard to say, hey, I just want to be a really good trader, but then not start doing better at other things. You almost have to, and that's
It
what I
all
was saying before,
merges.
like as a human, you almost just have to improve and go through a journey. So I found myself, oddly enough, like making so many other changes in my life, all in the pursuit of becoming a better trader. So it wasn't
Right.
just learning. It wasn't just learning charts or learning volume or learning to read the order book or tape reading or, any of these things. That I actually had to become a better me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Which
Yeah.
that was why that I never would have thought that was going to be a requirement of this
It's all
process. I
connected,
probably
man.
wouldn't have gone. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's all connected. It's all connected. I mean, just think about it this way, right? And I read this somewhere, and I read so much stuff either on books or posts or even podcasts like this one,
Yeah,
where I heard this where the gentleman was talking about discipline is all connected in all parts of your life. So what that means is if you're trying to be a disciplined trader, but you're not disciplined in your life, how do you think that's going to affect things, right? If you're disorganized
yeah,
here in your office, you're not taking care of yourself health wise, you're disorganized in your workplace, that's all going to just carry over everything that you do. So you have to start thinking about that discipline. As you're setting these goals for 2023, start thinking about that discipline, not just being in trading, because if it all carries over, guess what? If you're disciplined in those areas, it's going to help you be more disciplined in your trading, right?
yeah.
You might not see that link, but your mind makes that link, right? So it's very
It
important to
feels
do that.
good to trade that way too. I one of the biggest things that gave me in trading was when I'm having a bad day, if I followed my rules, I don't have to blame myself for that
Right.
bad day. You know what I
Right.
mean? I blame the strategy for that bad day. And if I have a lot of bad days in a row, then my strategy is underperforming, not me. I need to get to work, analyze my strategy, what's changed in the market, what's going on, why is it underperforming when I'm performing so well? But if
Yeah.
I'm not performing well and I'm getting in the way all the time, cutting too early, not holding long enough, doing all of these small little things, then I don't even know if the system's working or not. Right. All I know is that I'm incapable of performing. Right. So it was just wild how that got in there.
Hey everyone, hopefully you are enjoying this conversation as we are midway through this episode. Want to take this opportunity to let you know about tradingterminal.com. It is a completely free tool created by traders for traders. You will have access to scanners that we use daily to find stocks in play, stock news and information, plus a replay simulator to practice your trading. It is going to be all available at tradingterminal.com, so definitely go check that out. Now let's jump back into our conversation. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And this is why we talk about, talking about low flows, getting a little more technical. When you talk about low flow stocks, it's so hard to be disciplined and build that consistency with, because their unexpected moves are just very difficult to build that consistency, right? You just can't do it. So doing mid to large flow stocks is easier to have that process where you kind of know what to expect and you do it consistently over and over again. And these risky stocks just don't allow you to do that. So
Yeah. And if people get interested in it, we can actually talk even more about like why some of that. But I mean, me for low floats as well. I don't play them specifically because I'm a very big order book player. So I like to read the order book to tell, what's going on. When you have something with such a low float, especially a low price, any large participant can come in and buy a massive chunk of the book. And it's really difficult to manage risk or account for
yeah.
slippage in that case. So you can go in heavy on a really inexpensive stock thinking, worst case scenario, I lose a couple $100, you lose a couple thousand, and you just weren't ready for it because you weren't expecting a 30-cent spread. You were expecting a 1 cent spread, right?
Yeah,
And on
yeah,
low float, anything goes in that. So it's not just about what's going to move. It's about what's going to move in a way, that you can predict. It's like riding a bucking bronco versus, just getting on a well-tamed horse. You know what I mean? One's going
yes,
to give you a
yes,
better ride than the other. You know what I
yes,
mean? And we're here for the long haul. We're not get rich players here. I know you're not. You've been doing this for a while. I'm not planning on going anywhere. I day trade for a living. You know what
yeah,
I mean? So I'm not looking to make all my money for the year in a day. I'm just looking to. What was that thing we were talking about the other day in the chat room? It was like that movie Moneyball. Where they have all the guys who, I just want this guy and this guy. Why? Because they get on base, right? That's
yeah,
me for trading.
yeah,
What's my goal? I just want to get on base. I just want to. I want to make a little bit of money every day. I want to pay my bills, make sure all that's good, grow my account a little bit. But I'm in this for 15, 20 years from now. I still plan on squeezing a little money out of the market. And maybe by then it'll be a little bit more. But
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm in no rush for either one. I like you. I'm just kind of focused on the process, man, and just making it a little bit better. So you're scaling risk for the new year. Hopefully, starting to
Yeah,
bump your risk up a little bit.
and I haven't done it yet. I came in today and I was enjoying the New Year's weekend, the holidays with the family. So I wasn't even thinking about trading, which was nice to get that break, right? And I came in this morning. I had not done the change yet. I will do it eventually, but there's no rush. Like there's
Yeah,
no rush to do
no
the
rush.
change right away. Don't feel that pressure to have to do it at the beginning of the new year. You could do it next week, week after, right? But that's the goal. The goal this year is to kind of increase risk a little more, and not have the strategies, falter, right? I don't want to have my discipline kind of give out, under me while I'm
Yeah.
still increasing higher risk.
So
So
for those who
that's
are
the
thinking the
plan.
same thing, what was like a qualifier that you felt like was good for saying, "Hey, I'm ready to scale"? Just you're finding a certain level of consistency here, so you're just thinking, "I'm ready," or was
Well,
there like a number you had in mind? Like, what made you think
yeah.
like
Well,
I'm
it's
ready to go?
the funny thing is that November and October, by the way, were incredible. I had incredible months there. I mean, they were just everything I touched seemed like it turned to gold, right? And you have that
Midas
once in a
touch,
while. Yeah,
baby. Let's
Midas
go.
touch, really. And then December, I actually just barely broke even, which is fine, which is perfectly fine. You're going to have some months where you're going to be rest, some months are going to be barely break even, and that's okay. I had incredible stuff before that. So that kind of, I was looking back at my numbers and reviewing everything and just kind of say, you know what, maybe it's time to push a little more. I'm very comfortable where I'm at now. And I think once you get comfortable, you don't want to come out of your comfort zone. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what, I should push. I should push and come out of my comfort zone a little bit and see where it goes to next. So it was not anything, nothing has changed where my consistency is better. It's still the same, but I figure, maybe it's time to kind of, push up a little more. And what time to do it in the beginning of the year? You have a clean record when you start doing something. That can help.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was nothing that like, oh, aha, let's push
Yeah.
up
Let's
now.
go.
No, no.
Well,
you
not
know?
for nothing. I mean, consistency, I think, is the reason to do it, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's just say you can only make 2 R a day. Well, what if that 2R is $2,000? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, all you
Right.
got to do is redefine R,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
if you make 2R a day, then we just need to get it so that your 2R, if you've got the account to handle the risk and the
Mm-hmm.
ability to
Mm-hmm.
go through, but if you can duplicate that or, at least, enough to be there, then that's it. We just need to scale it, and that's why I talk
Yeah.
to everybody. Like, you show me a person that is executing well every single time, but they're not doing well. This is someone who's on the cusp of becoming a day trader.
Right. Because
But
once they
you
figure
can
it
show me
out.
somebody like we talked a little bit about sim a beginning, and we can cover this topic for like 45 minutes. One of the biggest issues I made in sim was I kind of ignored. I lied to myself a lot in sim because I was like adding into accounts, I was doubling
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
positions, I did all of these like stupid little tricks I would never have done with real money, but it
Right.
made my
Right.
sim stats amazing. So by the time I went live, super confident, super stupid, right? So that's why we had the big issue. But I think all of this, is to, what I was lacking then was the process. I didn't know if I was trading well or not. I was just winning, right? I just wanted to win, and I was basically doing anything in sim so that I could justify going live rather than sitting back and saying, "Man, am I any good at this thing yet or not?"
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Exactly.
luckily
Exactly.
survived live long enough to figure that out, but
Well,
I like that a lot.
not only have you survived, you wrote a book, man. Let's get into that.
Yeah,
I mean,
a little
you
wild, man.
yeah. So
So that's one of my main New Year's thing coming out for me is to actually execute and build more consistency on my system. So, and that system is the book, right? So, and thank you, man, for the acknowledgement. I won't spend too much time on it, but for any of you who don't know, I recently authored a book, a complete day trading system. It's available on Amazon. Grab a copy, please. No, but it's a really fun book. I think it's a really good read for a technical book. I'm pretty proud of it, but basically it brings you my where, when, and how methodology behind the system that I'm looking at. So where I'm looking to get into the trades, the system that I use to identify when it's time to take it, and then how I manage it, including how I manage myself. It's a pretty sweet. I'm like I said, I'm proud of it. And so if you pick up a copy, let me know what you think. But yeah, man, it was a good time. It was
yeah.
crazy to write it though. Took a
Well,
lot longer
I want to ask you. I
than I
mean,
thought, man.
how was
It was
the
crazy.
the writing part of it, right? I mean, because it's not easy to write a book, especially now. Here's a lot harder than it was before. So, how was the writing process of this thing, man?
All right. So in the beginning, there was some misleading going on. All right. So what happened is in the original part of it, I had my my esteemed mentor and boss, Dr. Andrew Aziz, says, "Hey, writing a book is no problem. You've already done like 30 webinars. Just take a little bit out of this one, a little bit out of this one, and a book is born." No. You go all of this stuff. For him, probably probably is that easy. He's so talented in so many areas. I'm sure he can just spit out a book like no one's problem. Probably took him like a week. For me, that was the beginning of a well over a 1 year, start to stop, process, a little bit more than actually that. But it did start there. I went back into my webinars and I really listened to the community, the BBT community, and I really wrote the book for the BBT community to address all of the issues that I've been talking about with them for the past couple of years as we've been doing Thursday night. In BBT, we do Thursday night mentoring every single Thursday at 8 p.m. for a little over an hour. You can come in there. You can ask me any question you want. We break open charts, the tape, videos, trades. It doesn't matter. It's a free for all. And we
Yeah.
don't have a topic. We just do it. And I was like, these are the topics that we're always revolving around. And then that, with actually the BBT family's help, I mean, the book really is this kind of surprising combination of all of the different influences I have from the family. So, but yeah, it started off, man, it's going to be this really nice, easy little thing to get this going. You just throw it together, be a book thing. But then it ended up, I didn't even know what a typesetter was or any of these other like terms. And so by the time we were done, it ended up being quite the process, but super rewarding. Just
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
feedback that I've gotten back from the BBT family and the trading community in general has been flattering. So I mean, I'm been super stoked. So yeah, man, it's been a pleasure. It certainly was worth the work put into it. And fortunately, and I say this last thing, for anyone who's looking to improve themselves as a trader, you don't have to write a book, but finally detailing out your system for how you want to control your trading and how you want to put it out there, because that's what the book is. It's my detail of what I do for you. You know what I mean? So, but for you, you should have your own detail of what you do for you, and you
Oh
should
yeah.
know what it
Yeah.
takes to do that. So the biggest benefit I'd have to say overall from the trading book was, as I developed the book, my system dialed its way in so significantly, and my hit rate went from probably 50 or 60% average to closer to an 80% average. Today I was 3 for 3.
Yeah. I
So,
saw that, man. Yeah. Yeah.
and it's, if you guys, I actually, it'll be a couple of days late by the time this comes out. But if you guys go back to today's, I also did a recap. You can go back and see those trades on the YouTube channel, Bear Bull Traders YouTube. That'll be posted. I'll also have it shared on my Twitter, and we'll throw some links in for our Twitters, I'm sure, and stuff like that,
Yeah. Absolutely,
and the
man.
details and all
Absolutely.
that stuff.
I love one of the responses you got in this book when someone put a Twitter. I think he has shared the book on Twitter, and they were talking about the price, right? They're like, there was like, oh, it's $50. Why so much? And your response was, have you read the book? And I love that. I love that because, the material that's on here, by the way, I look at the ratings now on Amazon, and that is why that book is priced that way. It's 94% rating at 4.9. I mean,
Not bad.
not bad.
Not
So,
bad.
guys,
I'll take it.
and,
I'm pretty
and
sure the others are trolls. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah,
No,
it could be,
no,
but
no, no.
it's
There's
just
some stuff in there.
it amazes me sometimes how people think that this thing is going to be easy and there's not going to be no cost to it, right? But they'll quickly spend $50 on a sit down dinner at the Outback Steakhouse,
Yeah,
which is not going to bring you no returns besides
yeah.
probably some calories you might not need, right? So
Well, I priced it like very intentionally. So the book really grabs topics that there are multiple topics in this book that you would have to buy probably 4 or 5 other books to cover: volume and price analysis, price-based analysis,
yeah,
Camarilla
yeah,
strategies, risk management strategies. All of these things you would have to go out and buy a $20 book to cover. So in this instance, I would actually recommend to anyone who's getting it to have read, like, Andrew's, How to Day Trade for a Living first, because I don't cover brokerages. I kind of assume when you're
yeah.
reading
It's
my
more
book that you're
advanced. Yeah.
you're, you're kind of a novice trader looking to become a professional trader, but
Yeah.
I kind of, I kind of make the assumption that you're going to know what a platform is. So I don't go into all that, but that's why should I? There's already a book that covers that, and it's
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
better. So, but really it was just that. And for me, I'll be honest with you guys, it took me almost a year and a half by the time I was done with the editing process and everything I put out, working on this thing, 10, 15, towards the end, 30 hours, 40 hours a week. You know what I mean? I put a lot of work into this. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
priced it so that, it made that process worth it. And I also, what I thought the book was worth. And I, it is one of those things, Carlos, like you say, someone says, oh, I would never buy a book that's that expensive. And I was like, well, you would if you went to college.
Well,
Because if you
that's
go
what
to
I'm
college, those
saying.
policy
Yeah.
textbooks cost $50. But
And I have my onboarding class tonight. By the way, one of the slides of my onboarding class is that you got to look at this as a business, and I'm telling you, we don't make that two comparison. We look at trading as something completely different. But if you open up a business, there's going to be some expenses. If you want to
of
become a
course,
doctor, a lawyer, trust me, that's not going to be cheap, and you're not going to get nothing in return for a couple of years. So, invest in yourself, guys. Invest in yourself. Invest in good material that is proven out there. To have
got to have a
turned
good
people.
computer. You know what I mean?
Exactly. A good internet connection. It's part of your business. It's part of your business.
Yeah.
So
You
I'm
you need a
excited.
calm environment where you can trade
Yeah.
from that's not going to be distracting, where you can actually focus. You need a couple of monitors. There's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
And the thing is this isn't, if you go in without these things, you're just going to go in under equipped, right? And then when you're
Yeah.
not successful, you're going to wonder why. And
It's going to
it
cost
just,
you more.
yeah, it's just going to cost you more in the long
It's
run.
going to cost you more. So, guys, pick up the book, Complete Day Trading System, available on Amazon by Thor Young, man. It's a really good read.
Cool.
And if you have read the book already, please leave a review because that does help a ton. You'd be surprised
Yeah.
how much that helps, right? Get other people to be aware of the book. So please do that, man.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, my man, guys, we're wrapping up our first episode here as we start up this new podcast with Thor and I. Talk with traders, and we would love your feedback. Again, we're just starting it up now, getting together, just kind of shooting from the hip a little bit, just having a conversation
Yeah.
with my friend here. But the
Yeah,
others
man.
will have some
So looking forward to
topics.
doing this,
Yeah,
man. I think this is going to be fun. I'm really hoping everybody in the community starts to enjoy just kind of hanging out with us a little bit and,
yeah,
just
yeah.
talking trading, man. It's all about community for me. And I think that's super important. So I'm glad I get to just hang out with my buddy Carlos, who I haven't gotten to hang out with nearly as much as I want to lately. So this will just be kind of
Well, this is why
a
this is
fun
a
hang.
great project too, right? Because we kind
Yeah.
of get to talk here, talk shop a little bit, and before we came on, we were talking for almost half hour, and we said, oh, wait a minute, we got to record
We
something.
should just be recording right now.
Let's just start recording, and that's how kind of this went down. So, guys, hit I'm not sure if it's a thumbs up or hit the like reviews on. Actually, I'll read that
Yeah,
again.
so subscribe if it's a podcast situation. YouTube, hopefully you're already subscribed, but make sure thumbs up, comment, because as we start to talk about stuff, this is a conversation between us with you, right? So we
Yes,
want to make
yes,
sure that we have relevant stuff that you guys are interested in. So questions that you have, subject matter you'd like us to cover. Carlos has a very unique perspective. Like we said, we're both dads. We're both professional day traders. We both also work in a trading community. We've come from a really wide array of, personal backspace. I used to do IT. I mean, there's lots of stuff out there we can get into. So anything you guys want, throw it in the comments, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys. Take care. We'll see you next time. We do this every week, once a week. We see it from us here on the
Weekly.
podcast. So take care, guys.
Cool. Happy New Year, people.
Happy New Year.